Welcome to Tokyo Wave, recorded in a live studio in Harajuku, Japan, with your hosts Aaron and Parker. All right, everyone, welcome to episode 84 of Tokyo Wave. We are your hosts, Aaron Randall
and Parker Allen. On Tokyo Wave, we bring you weekly updates from our studio in Harajuku.
Join us in segments featuring this week's top news,
political happenings,
business,
and other random garbage.
To get us started, here are this week's top news highlights.
Japan's prime minister calls for aggressive wage hikes in push for redistribution.
Japan developing railguns as neighbors test hypersonic missiles.
Ex-idol in Japan arrested for allegedly swindling student out of $138,000.
This week in Japan. All right, so our first story. Japan Prime Minister calls for aggressive wage hikes in push for redistribution.
Kyodo News has reported that Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida asked business leaders on January 5th to raise wages more aggressively for employees as part of his pursuit of wealth redistribution.
Ahead of this year's annual wage negotiations between management and labor unions, Kishida, who took office in October, is calling for a pay hike of over 3% by companies that have seen their earnings recover to pre-pandemic levels.
Kishida told a meeting of business leaders who gathered for New Year celebrations, quote, "Wage hikes mean future investments. It is critically important for future economic growth. I would like to see you take an aggressive stance and cooperate."
Kishida also said the country needs to set in motion a virtuous cycle of growth and distribution at a time when recovery from the pandemic comes with opportunities for the new era.
A virtuous cycle, eh? The New Year's gathering was organized by the Japan Business Federation, the country's most powerful business lobby known as Keidanren, together with the Japan Association of Corporate Executives and the Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Kishida has placed priority on creating a new type of capitalism by ensuring both economic growth and wealth redistribution.
But it's not socialism. It's a new form of capitalism.
Wow, a new form of capitalism. That would not go over well in the States.
Elon Musk would not be tweeting nice things about that. So, accelerating wage growth, which has been sluggish in Japan as the country has been plagued by deflation for years, is a key part of Prime Minister Kishida's agenda, and the government plans to offer tax reductions for companies going ahead with pay hikes.
I think that's the key right there. You know, if they can balance it out with the reductions against the pay hikes. But, you know, companies that are actually just now recovering, sad to say, but I'm sure the last thing they want to do is, you know, increase all their employees' pay.
Also, I hate to be a downer, but 3%! It's hard to get enthusiastic about 3%.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure somebody cares.
Yeah.
Next up, Japan developing railguns as neighbors test hypersonic missiles.
The Mainichi has reported that Japan's Ministry of Defense is putting serious research and development resources into railguns, a weapon straight out of science fiction that fires projectiles very fast, very far, and at a high rate using electromagnetic power rather than gunpowder. So like Star Trek?
Pretty much.
Cool.
I'm kind of disappointed that they don't use real rail, though. Some 6.5 billion yen, which is around $56 million, was allocated to the railgun project in the government's initial fiscal 2022 budget proposal. With China and North Korea developing difficult-to-intercept hypersonic weapons, Japan wants to succeed in making this new weapon part of its air defenses. And who wouldn't want railguns?
I know, right?
Just rolls off the tongue. Railguns.
So with a railgun, a electroconductive projectile is loaded between two prongs, also made from electroconductive material. A very strong electric current is then fed up one rail through the projectile or an armature holding it, and then back down the other rail, creating a strong magnetic field that launches the bullet-like projectile out of the gun at tremendous speeds. I feel like I just read the documentation for some kind of like Unity game that I'm trying to program or something.
Tremendous speeds.
Sounds pretty cool, actually.
The Ministry of Defense allocated 1 billion yen, which is about 8.6 million USD, to the technology in the fiscal 2016 supplementary budget and built a prototype. The aim is to create a weapon that can fire a projectile at 2,000 meters per second or more, which is about Mach 6, and above the 1,700 meters per second of a tank's main gun. According to Japan's Acquisition Technology and Logistics Agency, what a name, speeds of over 2,200 meters per second have been recorded in trials.
Wow. So the ministry is doing railgun research because countries around Japan are developing hypersonic weapons. These travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound, making them hard to intercept and, according to observers, perhaps impossible for Japan's current missile defenses to bring down. You know, whenever the topic of North Korea comes up and them potentially firing a missile at, you know, a Japanese city or an American West Coast city, you know, there's always a debate on whether or not, you know, we should fire a missile, or if we do fire a missile, will it actually intercept? You know, Japan's actually really good at precision-based technology, right? Like, they're all about that. So it actually seems natural that Japan might be the ones to maybe innovate some kind of weaponry that could because it's like hitting a bullet with another bullet, right?
Did you ever play Quake?
Oh, dude, of course.
Wasn't the railgun like the coolest gun that they had in Quake?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm sure some like Ministry of Defense like nerd was playing Quake and was like, dun, 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 and he was like, wait a second, we can make this.
I think they need a little bit more than 8.64 million USD because
it seems like such a small amount of money.
Yeah, compared to American defense budget spending, this is like pennies.
Yeah, I think if the U.S. government was to procure a railgun, I don't think $10 million would even pay for the rail.
You know, though, Japan's pretty famous, though, for developing a lot of stuff and stocking it. And then U.S. tech entrepreneurs will come over here. And, you know, when they were trying to find technology for the iPhone, I think one of Steve Jobs' collaborators found something that, you know, Apple had been trying to build for like 5 years, and the Japanese just had it sitting around. And they're like, yeah, we don't know how to use this, but we'll sell it to you for $10 million. And like he famously called Steve Jobs on the cell phone, like, I need $10 million right now to buy this technology, and bam, they got it. So Japan does have a lot of that stuff kind of sitting around, from what I've heard.
And then tomorrow, Elon Musk tweets, yo, I just bought Japanese railgun technology for 10 million bucks. Who wants a railgun? You have to pay in Dogecoin.
Is this, can we... I wonder what companies this could be tied back to, because that would be a good stock tip.
I mean, if a Japanese company is going to be making railguns, shouldn't it be like the Umbrella Corporation?
Oh, for sure.
And up next, ex-idol in Japan arrested for allegedly swindling student out of $138,000.
The Mainichi also reported that a 22-year-old former member of a Japanese boy band and another man were arrested on January 5th for allegedly swindling a female university student out of more than 16 million yen, that's about 138,000 USD, through fraud schemes, including telling her falsely that they could introduce her to entertainers.
Did nobody ask where she got $140,000 from? A university student?
She must have been rich or something, probably, you know. They knew she was loaded. Hey, we can introduce you to this guy, it's just Isin Man, that's just how it works in the entertainment biz.
So, Aichi Prefectural Police's Toyokawa Police Station arrested Ayumu Kuroda, who lives in Osaka's Yodogawa ward and was a member of the idol group Junon Superboy and Others, an idol group who I'm sure no one has ever heard of, and Roya Yatsubayashi, 26, a self-proclaimed home business owner who lives in Osaka's Nishi ward on suspicion of fraud.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate this name? Junon Superboy and Others. The and others is English, and others. Right?
And others.
And others. Were they like the second group? The other group. How do you say that in English again? Isn't that and others?
And others. Several similar cases have also been reported because there are suckers everywhere, and this is the fourth arrest of Kuroda, who has been on trial for fraud. Big surprise there. The police station has not made it clear whether the duo have admitted to the allegations.
So Kuroda and Yatsubayashi are specifically accused of teaming up to swindle cash from the 21-year-old university student from the city of Chiba near Tokyo, whom they got acquainted with on the internet. They charged her fees on the pretext of introducing her to celebrities.
Yatsubayashi reportedly told the girl in Tokyo on April 28, 2021, "Yeah, you can meet entertainers for 500,000 yen, though you need to pay an extra 1 million yen as a deposit in the event of this becoming public, but this will be refunded." The suspects then allegedly scammed a total of 1.8 million yen from the student on 3 occasions between April 28th and May 17th.
Furthermore, they allegedly told her that they knew someone who was engaging in insider trading and that investing in these schemes would surely be successful, and reportedly swindled her out of a total of 14.6 million. That's 126,000 US dollars over 11 occasions.
Took her a while to figure out this wasn't going anywhere, eh?
So, those introductions into the entertainment industry, it might take some time, but in the meantime, we got this guy, he's an inside trader, insider trading. You heard about it? It's very illegal. But anyways, we can introduce you to these deals, and you can make a lot of money on the stock market.
You heard of this guy, Elon Musk? Well, you know what? The guy who's giving us this info is his brother. His name is Elon Musk. This guy is gonna make you so rich, you're not gonna even know what to do with all the money. You're gonna need like a pool to put all the money in, a money pool. It's gonna be awesome.
I mean, there's just no limit to these scammers, right? It's like they go from like introductions in the entertainment industry into insider trading. Like, how many different scams are they running? They must be.
I think once you find a good sucker, I think the common knowledge is to just take it as far as you can.
Gosh.
Kuroda was previously arrested in September 2021 for allegedly cheating a female university student in central Japan's Aichi Prefecture out of 1.69 million yen, or roughly 15,000 US, by telling her, "I'll introduce you to a member of a Johnny's group," referring to the famous Johnny and Associates talent agency behind some of Japan's most popular boy idol groups. Since then, Toyokawa Police Station has received consultations about similar incidents from more than 20 people across the country, with financial damage totaling more than 50 million yen, which is about 430,000 US dollars.
Besides celebrity introduction scams, there have apparently been consultations about damage from investment fraud, and the police station intends to investigate further. So I guess this guy kind of, used his initial fame in this boy band, and was probably working with another scam artist. Maybe was had some bad influence, and started off small. Started off, Aichi Prefecture, more in the Inaka, starting off with, like 16, 20 or so scams, and started getting bigger and bigger. Yeah.
$500,000 though.
Yeah.
This guy, he's a shoo-in for Hustler of the Year.
These kind of people freak me out though, because they probably get better and better at tricking and lying and really, really like snagging people and whatnot.
Yeah, this guy's going to go to jail and he's going to come out and he's going to be like the next Bernie Madoff.
Oh, man.
Well, I hope old Kuroda-san has fun in Japanese prison where he can learn how to make traditional Japanese furniture. Did you know they did that in Japanese jails?
I didn't know. Forced labor?
It's not forced labor. They actually get money to make the furniture. But it's sort of like this work education program, because obviously if you've been an ex-con, it's hard to get a regular job. So they teach them different trades, and one of those is carpentry.
They don't do like computer programming or anything?
I don't think they've thought that far yet.
One of my friends in the States, actually, he was in jail for a while, and now he's like an amazing programmer.
Huh?
Like he's a genius programmer. Yeah.
Probably a little bit more lucrative than teaching people how to make furniture, but I've seen the furniture on sale. It's pretty good. I actually bought an item made by an ex-con.
Oh, nice.
And it's nice.
Were there like carvings on the bottom of who he's going to kill next? Like, his list?
I haven't looked yet.
All right, and up next on Tokyo Panic Room, we're going to talk about a group petitioning the Japanese government to end border restrictions preventing foreign nationals from entering Japan.
You're now listening to Tokyo Wave.
On January 6th, Kyodo News reported that an online petition demanding that Japan ease its tight entry rules to prevent the spread of the Omicron variant of the coronavirus was submitted to the Japan Ministry of Foreign Affairs with about 12,000 signatures.
The petition addressed to Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi says that the excessive border controls have affected those who want to see their families living overseas.
Japan has banned new entries by foreigners worldwide since November 30th, following increasing reports on the highly contagious Omicron variant of the coronavirus. Even entry of spouses and children of Japanese nationals or permanent residents is denied unless they are in special exceptional circumstances.
The government has also suspended the validity of visas issued before December 2nd, other than those for diplomats, spouses of Japanese nationals, and permanent residents, among others.
The campaign to collect signatures for the petition was launched in early December by a group led by Japanese artist Takashi Arai and Melek Ortabasi, an associate professor at Simon Fraser University in Canada.
Arai, whose German wife was denied entry into Japan, said at an online press conference held after the group submitted the petition to the ministry, quote, "We recognize this as an issue of international human rights law."
Ortabasi, a single mother who left her 3 children in Canada to come to Japan for research work in October, said she will keep fighting because she does not want other people to have the same experience.
Her children who had been denied entry were recently allowed to enter Japan exceptionally, but the family has yet to be reunited as the children are quarantined at a designated facility.
The Japanese government initially said the tightened entry rules would be in place for about 1 month to the end of 2021, but later decided to extend them at least through early this year as the country braces for its 6th wave of COVID-19 infections amid the spread of the Omicron variant.
The measures have been criticized as discriminatory by the World Health Organization, which has urged countries not to impose blanket travel bans, saying they are ineffective in preventing the virus from spreading and place a heavy burden on people's lives. So this is quite a big topic and a very important one for anyone caught in between Japan and another country, for any foreign residents here, for anyone who has family that can't get in. I tend to be very saddened by the stories I hear about families being separated, especially.
And there's really no way to tell when this is going to end, because obviously the Omicron situation continues to be an issue worldwide. Obviously, we have communities spread here in Japan, so the original rationale for keeping Omicron out using this entry ban ended up not working. And so the question remains, why are they still doing it?
Right. I'm looking at the cases for as of January 6, 2022. New cases are at 4,297. Compare that to the past spike over August. We had about 25,000 cases at that peak a day. So, I mean, not trying to minimize Japan's COVID situation, but, things are kept pretty tight and secure here in Japan, and everybody really practices preventative measures to the extreme. Some people might really disagree with me for saying this, but I think Japan just needs to open up to at least the people that are applying for visas or got a visa, right?
Well, and the thing that really still makes me scratch my head is that for us, or for Japanese nationals, we can freely leave and come back. And when we return, depending on where we went, we have to do a forced quarantine of X number of days, depending on the region that we visited.
Yeah.
And the Japanese government pays for that.
Right.
And so that's nice, but does that really need to be taken care of by tax money? And if a Japanese national can go XYZ and come back and do this forced quarantine for free, why can't a new entrant do the same thing, pay for it themselves, and then come into the country?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If they had that as an extra condition.
And I'm sure there's plenty of people who want to come in Japan. And,
people
if you have
for
to
it.
do a forced self-paid quarantine for 14 days, they're just going to say, hell yeah, sign me up.
Absolutely.
But you can't do that.
Yep. Don't forget, over Oshogatsu, when all the hotels were booked here in Tokyo and Yokohama, they were flying people down to Fukuoka to do the quarantine. Did you hear about this?
But then they had to come back. They couldn't just hang out in Fukuoka. So stupid.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine? I mean, like after going through all the entry proceedings, they're cramming everyone. The bedrooms and stuff people are staying in too at the hotels seem to be quite small.
I've been following one person on Twitter who was in sort of like a single use like business hotel room with two children, one of which had a condition that caused them to wet the bed.
Oh my God.
And the parent of the child contacted the authority and said, my child wet the bed, need a new mattress, need something. Guess what they said?
No.
So can you imagine that, having to do a forced quarantine with a bed with, pee on it? That's gross.
Let's also think about the fact that this person, most likely 99% chance, has to work, right? They might not have the luxury of taking 2 weeks off from work. So they might be expected to use the crappy Wi-Fi at the hotel and continue working, which on top of, having your own kids in the room, Oh my gosh. It sounds like a stress nightmare.
Yeah, well, I think I've already decided that I'm not going to go overseas until these reentry restrictions have gone away, and who knows how long that's going to be, but it's too much.
Right.
Just to go overseas and come back and have to be stuck.
Things change, every 3 to 4 months. When did they make it so we could quarantine at our houses? Was that last?
It's always been like that, but depending on where you come back, there's...
Oh. And I heard they're checking really hardcore now, and like it's kind of an unknown. So if you go back to the States, like they want to know where you connected, and they spend a lot of time looking at like what cities you connected in, ask you how much time you spent in certain cities.
I see here you connected in Miami, so that means 1 month forced quarantine. Get in the bus.
It's in Saitama.
It's a love hotel, but it's okay. They clean the sheets every once in a while.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was surprising to hear, during Oshogatsu, I was, trying to get a hotel to go back to Inaka to visit family here. And all the hotels were completely booked, and most of these bookings are Japanese, but still like, it's pretty shocking. On that note too, I know me and you both recently went to Kyoto this year. I just got back, went over the Christmas break, and it was totally packed. Like all the hotels were packed. There were Japanese people everywhere. And we were told by a lot of the people that live in the area that Japanese figured out that, foreign travelers can't come anymore. So because of that, a lot of places were saying they're experiencing like 2 times the amount of people and 2 times the sales as normal, because Japanese are just going crazy to all the places.
I just spoke with a colleague who spent the holidays in Nikko, and he said it was the same deal up there.
Oh,
everywhere. Wow. Maximum capacity.
Damn. Yeah.
They figured it out. The foreigners aren't here, so it's time for us to have fun.
It took them a while, though, because in 2020, when was it? 2020 July, I went to Kyoto, and nobody was there. It was completely, it was dead. It was crazy.
I almost feel kind of bad because late last year, I was telling everybody, you got to go out because there's no tourists. And unfortunately, they probably figured out at about the same time as everybody else did. So
Yeah.
But I think to wrap this up, long story short, the current regime is not the worst situation, but it's definitely not the best. And there's so many ways that this could be improved. First and foremost, making a way for people to get into Japan. It doesn't have to be an easy way, but this no way bullshit has to stop.
Absolutely.
It's bad for the economy. It's bad for international students. And it just makes the Japanese government look xenophobic, which I think we'd like to believe is false. So they need to find a new way.
Yeah. I have heard some criticisms about Kishida and that he's really, really reluctant to move. If he thinks, he doesn't want to steer away too far from everything that. I have heard a lot of criticism towards Kishida that he doesn't want to steer too far away from the status quo, meaning everything that's currently in place. He's very, very slow and reluctant to change anything.
One, I definitely think this has something to do with public opinion polls. And of course, the current prime minister is polling very high right now. And there are rumors that it might be somewhat connected to this entry ban.
Right.
But that doesn't make it a good idea.
Yeah.
And so I really do think it's up to the government's leadership to find a way to create a new system that will alleviate these problems and also, of course, keep the public happy, because that's something they have to think about as well. But keeping the public happy should not come at the expense of all of these people who are investing in Japan, whether it's their job, whether it's their, career, or whether it's their education.
Absolutely. Well said. Hey, listeners, that's right. You listener right there.
Who do you think should be our next guest on Tokyo Wave? Let us know. Drop us a line at wave@tokyowave.jp.
We hope you enjoyed Tokyo Wave.
If you haven't already, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Join us again next week on Tokyo Wave.